Email marketing is one of the most powerful digital marketing channels in existence. The ROI is tremendous. Costs are very low. Conversion rates are off the charts if you manage your email list properly. Now, here's the thing. There are many, many different email marketing platforms. I have tried almost all of them. They all have pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. And some of it comes down to personal preference, but a lot of it does not. There are things that I look for that are very important to have versus deal breakers where I say, nope, I absolutely cannot recommend this platform. So when Omnisend's team reached out to me and they asked about doing a sponsored video, I said, 100%. I'm actually wanting to do a video on Omnisend because I don't have a lot of experience with it. I want to explore the platform and I want to see if it is a viable thing to recommend to my clients, to other agencies, and to freelancers. But I also told them I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to look at the things that I need to look at in order to say yay or nay. And I am going to give you my firm conclusion at the end of this video, whether I recommend Omnisend for my clients, whether I would recommend Omnisend as an option for agencies and freelancers. But I also said, I want to do this with a real world example. I want to see how easy is it to set up a opt-in for like a newsletter, something very simple. But I want to do it my way. I want to do it with WS Form. I don't want to do it with the native forms in Omnisend. I want to see how easy is it to use my workflow and my integrations. And then I want to see if I can set up an automated email sequence to go to that newsletter audience. I want to see how easy is it to set up proper segmentation. I want to see if you guys support tags. I want to see, is it easy to send a broadcast and to segment how I'm sending that broadcast. So we're going to set up all of this together. We're going to walk through it all step by step. So you're going to actually learn what it would take to set up something like this with Omnisend, with WS Form. And then I will give you my conclusion. We'll take a look at pricing and some other things, but let's go ahead and get right into the meat of this video, which is the technical setup of these things. So I'm in a blank WordPress installation right here. I have Omnisend set up. Also, essentially what I did is I created my accounts and I've done nothing else. Okay. So if I go to the campaigns tab, you're going to see it's completely blank. The automations tab, completely blank. Forms area, completely blank. Audience, I have no subscribers. I have a brand new email list. And then of course there would be no reporting. But the first thing I want to point out is I do really like the dashboard. It's very clean. Your reports, your performance, all of that is front and center. There's some goals area right here that they kind of set up for you in terms of like getting you going. And then of course there's a live view where you can take a look at what's been happening recently in terms of your broadcasts and all that good stuff. But very clean dashboard up at the top, very clean navigation. It's very easy to find. Okay, if I want to send a campaign, going to go to the campaigns tab. I want to set up an automation, going to go to the automations tab. Forms are here, and then I can access all of my audience from this area as well. Just very clean, very simple, and I really, really, really like that. Now, what I'm going to do first, because I want to set up a form, but I want to set up this form with WS Form. And I actually recommend this to agencies and freelancers because a lot of your clients are going to use various systems and you don't have time to learn how all of these systems handle their form setup and configuration and styling and all. And then is the styling going to match the styling on the website? Because maybe you're using variables over here, but the email system doesn't actually support variables. You don't want to live that life. You want a standard process. And I've always said WS Form is my standard process for creating forms because I can integrate WS Form with an Omnisend or with any other third-party platform that is a major platform. And I can keep my forms, my forms. I can keep my workflow, and everything stays very consistent, very standard, and there's one interface to learn, know, and understand. So I'm not going to bother with the forms area up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop straight into WS Form in my sandbox, and I'm going to hit Add New Form. And this is going to be a newsletter form form, we're going to create a landing page or what's called a squeeze page for this. So I actually don't need a lot going on. I need an email field and I need a submit button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in this email field. I'm going to take a look at how this looks on laptop here. I'm going to move this over here and then I'm going to bring in a submit button. And I'm going to make this submit button say subscribe. Okay, we never want that button to say submit. We want it to say subscribe. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this form. I've got an email field and I've got a subscribe field. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to pages. And I'm going to edit my front page. This is just a sandbox. So I'm going to put this squeeze page as the home page of the website. And I'm just going to use frames for this. I'm going to say squeeze, and we'll bring in this squeeze page template right here. All right, join the Geary.co newsletter. Then we'll leave this as dummy text, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and drop in a better icon here. We'll go with something like this. And I'm going to just delete these list items. We'll just put 2 more in so that icon is in all 3 of them. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete this form, which is a bricks form. And I'm going to bring in our WS form that we just created. And it's going to say new form right now. The name doesn't really matter. We're going to take care of all that in just a second. I'm going to use the form light class to style this form with automatic CSS, and we'll go ahead and make this form 100% width as well, so it takes up all of the space. And you can see right off the bat, I am pretty close to being ready to rock and roll. I'm going to go ahead and throw an image back here in the background. Not that this matters all that much for this test. But let's go ahead and see what everything looks like on the front end. So very quickly, if I wanted to throw in some copy, I could throw in some copy. I have a squeeze page that is ready to take email signups. The question now is, how do we get, when somebody puts in their email and they hit subscribe, how do we get that data into Omnisend? Okay, really good question. So WS Form has third-party integrations. Omnisend happens to be one of them. So all of this is going to happen natively. I'm going to go to plugins. I'm going to go to add new plugin. And I'm going to upload. We're going to go to choose file, and I'm going to upload WS Forms Omnisend add-on, and this is going to bake that integration in natively on this particular install. Now, once you install the add-on for Omnisend, you do put in your WS Form license key for that add-on, but you also need to put in your Omnisend API key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my dashboard in Omnisend. I'm going to go right up here to my profile area, and I'm going to go to store settings. I've created a little store called Digital Gravy in here. I'm going to go down to API keys. I'm going to create an API key, and we're going to name this WordPress, okay? We're gonna just check all the permissions for this API key and say create API key and go ahead and copy it. I'm gonna delete this one after we're done with this video, so don't even bother stealing it from right here. It's not gonna do you any good. I'm gonna go back into Omnisend API key field here in WS Form, and we'll go ahead and click Save Changes. Okay, so now WS Form is technically connected to Omnisend. It knows what my account is, and it's going to be able to send the data. But we have to set up the step of actually sending the data. So in order to do that, we're going to go back into our form. I've renamed this newsletter now. We're going to go ahead and edit it. And I'm going to go up to the actions area. And one of the actions, other than showing a confirmation message, saving the submission to the database, I want to add to Omnisend. So it's going to be an option right there. Once you have the Omnisend add-on installed, it's going to be an option for you in this dropdown. Go add to Omnisend and make sure you do it when the form is submitted. Okay. Next thing you're going to come down and do, make sure the status is set to subscribed. Hit send welcome email. This will subscribe them to marketing emails. And then you need to map the form fields. Now, I only have one form field. It's an email input, right? I need to map the email input of the form to Omnisend's email custom field. So this is how WS Form knows, okay, this data right here for their email address is belonging to this field in Omnisend. It's going to map those perfectly fine. Next thing I can do, and this is optional, I'm just going to tag everybody who fills out this form with the tag of newsletter, okay? That's going to let Omnisend know based on people filling out this form, or it's going to let me know in Omnisend, really, which form they filled out, right? I'm tagging them with the form that they filled out. This is the newsletter form, and I'm tagging them with, okay, this person is on the newsletter, right? All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit save and close, and we will go ahead and hit publish. Now, I am going to refresh, and we are going to, it's already filling in my data here. We are going to subscribe myself to that email list. Let's go ahead and hit subscribe. And you see it says, thank you for your submission. Now, we have moment of truth, right? We got to go into Omnisend and see, is that person in Omnisend? All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to Omnisend. Let's go back to the dashboard area and let's go to audience. Okay, I see total contacts, no name, all right, but there is an email address. That's my email address. And let's go ahead and click on the profile. Let's open them up and see what's going on here. You can see the activity. They opted in. The channel is email. Here's the email address, any other data that you have. And look at this. Tags 1, they are tagged with the newsletter tag. This is fantastic. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about tags and segments or segmentation versus kind of the old style of email marketing, which was all list-based email marketing. I am not a fan of list-based email marketing. I like tags. I like segmentation. It's much, much, much more dynamic. It's it's easier to understand. Anybody who has worked with like tags in Gmail or something like that, very easy to understand that one person can have multiple tags based on things that things that they've done or that have happened to them in your system. Like they purchased something, right? Or they canceled a product, or they refunded, or they could get a tag for all these things. And as people interact with your company over time, they're going to get more and more and more tags. And not only are those tags going to tell the story of all of the things that have happened with that customer in your system, but they allow you to run custom segmentation options. So I can say, I want to send an email to everybody who is a customer of this and this, but it isn't a customer of this, or that's never refunded, or it's really up to you. The segmentation power at that point is unlimited. But if the system doesn't even give you those options, right? Doesn't give you tagging, doesn't give you dynamic segmentation, only says, hey, there are lists and people can be on lists or they cannot be on lists. That was like the old style of email marketing, the terrible style of email marketing. And now one of the most important things I look for is this tag-based system, this segmentation-based system, and Omnisend has that, which is fantastic. It has checked a major, major box. Okay, so now we are able to pipe people in. Like we can actually take data from this form that doesn't even belong to my Omnisend account, and we can get that data seamlessly into Omnisend. Now, you're saying, Kevin, they don't have a name. That's a big problem, right? Well, I didn't need them to have a name in this regard. If I had created a form where I needed to get their name, I could have added an input for their name. I could have mapped that to the name field, just like you saw me do with the email field. And I could do this with an unlimited number of objects, essentially, right? There's no limitation. This is just the very simple scenario that we're setting up in this particular email. But we got to take the next step now. The next step is, can we send that person an automated welcome email when they join the newsletter list? Okay, so let's go to automation and let's see if we can make this happen. I'm going to go to explore all workflows, create from scratch. So I'm creating an automation from scratch. And you're going to see right here, it says, define how a person enters the workflow. Okay, well, this is actually going to be a welcome sequence for anybody who just is essentially saying, I want marketing emails from this company, right? So they're entering the marketing event, right? So I'm going to click on please select event, and I'm going to come down and it says subscribed to marketing. It's like a default thing inside of Omnisend. Now I could create a segmentation, a segment based on tags that a person has. If you wanted to do it that way, I will show you how to do it that way as well. But for right now, I'm just going to say, hey, anybody that gets subscribed to marketing, I want to send them this welcome email. All right. It's easier than doing the segmentation things. Then you got to remember to keep, okay, well, this segmentation is going to get the welcome email. And then if I create a new one, that they're going to have to get it as, I just want to say, if they're subscribed to marketing, they're going to get a welcome email. All right. So it's as simple as that. Now there's other filters you can do. There's audience filters. There's exit conditions of when they're going to exit this automation. We don't have to worry about all that right now. All we want to do is just welcome them. Just welcome them when they subscribe to marketing. Okay. All right. So we're going to say update. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to drag another step in. So I'm going to drag in the step of email, and I'm going to enter a subject line that says, welcome to Geary, welcome to, I'll say welcome to the tribe. How about that? Welcome to the tribe. And I'll say you're now subscribed to the Geary.co newsletter. Fantastic. This is the pre-header of the email. And then the sender's name is going to be Kevin Geary. We're using Omnisend's email sending server, but I can say, hey, if people reply to this, I want them to reply to kevin@digitalgravy.co. And now I'm going to say edit content. And notice I haven't saved anything, so it's going to prompt me if I want to save before leaving, because we actually have to go to the email editor now. So I'm going to say yes, go ahead and save. And it's going to bring me over to this email editor. It's already pulled in my logo for this, but I actually don't want to do the logo thing, right? I just want to get rid of this little section right here. I want this to look like they're getting an email from a friend. I don't want it to be all flashy with images and all this other stuff. I want it to look just like a normal little email, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to quick add some text. We're going to just drop in some text, and I've actually got the copy for my welcome email. Let me grab it off of my Notion on the other screen. All right, and we'll go ahead and paste this in, okay? And I'm just gonna put some line breaks in. All right, we'll do a line break there, and we'll do one there and there, okay? And there, perfect. And then I didn't copy the I and I'm, so I'm gonna throw that in. And that's it, okay? I'm honored that you decided to, let's say hi or something like that, right? I'll say, yo, okay? Is that a good enough intro for you? All right, so here is my welcome email. I know you guys didn't want to sit and watch me actually come up with something to say for this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish editing. And now look at this. I have an email step, right? Now look at the things that I could do. I could create delays. I could create tags, like dynamic tagging. I could split this and say, if this, then that. I could do some split testing here, A/B testing. I could also send other things, not just emails. I can send a text message. I can send a push notification. So there's other stuff going on with Omnisend other than just email marketing, which is fantastic. Text message marketing is great. Push notifications are great. Just depends on the use case, depend on what you're trying to accomplish, but it's great to know that Omnisend has these other options as well. In terms of this flow, this builder for building these automations, I love that it's visual. I've played around with it. I haven't run into any issues or bugs or anything like that some other systems are notorious for. It feels very rock solid. It feels very well thought out. It also feels like it's not trying to do too much. There are some systems out there where it's like, dog, you're trying to do too much here, and it's making things complicated. It's just not a fantastic experience. Very simple, very straightforward, but it also has the things that I'm looking for. And for those of you who are wondering, can you put in dynamic data to the emails? What does that look like? Yeah, you actually can, okay? So let's go ahead and let's edit this email. Let's go ahead and edit content. And I'm going to show you, like, if I wanted to say hi or yo, comma, in the person's name, I can come right over here to insert personalization tag and say contact first name. And now that is going to insert that in. So yes, dynamic data is very, very, very easy. Let's go ahead and hit finish editing. Okay. And I'm going to say start workflow. So remember, anybody subscribed to marketing emails is going to get or should get this automation. I'm going to open it up one more time because I forgot to name it. And I'm going to say marketing automation. I'll say marketing welcome sequence. Okay, marketing welcome sequence. Let's update that. Let's update. And we are done. Let's publish the changes. Okay, I'm going to say let them finish the workflow when they complete it. Okay, so there we are. We've got our automation set up. Next thing we need to check is, all right, if I subscribe again, what happens? Do I trigger that, right? Or I'm already in the system, so it doesn't trigger it. These are the things you want to figure out when you're setting up your email marketing platform. So you understand the behavior, you know what to expect, okay? So let's go back over to our sandbox. Let's refresh. All right, I'm gonna subscribe the same email, okay? digitalgravy.co, let's hit subscribe. Perfect. And now what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do this on the other screen because I don't want you to see all my emails. I am going to see if I just got a welcome email. Okay. And I did. All right. Let me pull this over so you guys can see it. I use Hey for my email system. And there it is right here. This is the welcome to the tribe email. Well formatted, exactly what you would expect. There's a link to the site. Okay, all of that is good. So we can close that out. So in about just a few minutes, right? I took WS Form, which I use all the time. I installed the Omnisend add-on. I threw in my API key, which connected WS Form to Omnisend. I set up a little email newsletter sign-up form. I was able to style this landing page with automatic CSS and frames in seconds. I was able to pop in the WS Form and style it in seconds. And then I went in and I created a little automation that says, hey, if somebody subscribes to marketing emails, let's send them this welcome email. And by the way, let's go back in and just show you, because it's a good idea to send more than one email, okay? Let's understand that about email marketing. It's not one email that gets the job done. What you would now want to do is you would want to what's called indoctrinate your audience into your content. So you would come up with usually like a 5 to 6 email sequence, and you would spread this out over, I would say, send one a day, okay? Here's my tip for automated emails in a sequence where you're warming the person up. They are most excited to hear from you immediately after joining your list. So don't send them a welcome email and then nothing else for like a week, because when a week goes by and they haven't heard from you again, it's not going to be a fantastic experience. Many people will forget, right, that they signed up. Others will just be like, okay, I was hyped about that a week ago. You had your chance. You didn't leverage the opportunity that I gave you. And I've moved on to other things, bigger and better things, right? So when somebody signs up, that's when they're most likely to engage, most likely to read, most likely to click links, most likely to want to hear from you and want to take the next step, right? So what is a good second step? Let's look at setting this up. So I'm going to drag in a delay here, and I'm not going to wait for 1 minute. I'm going to wait for 1 day, okay? Then I'm going to send another email. All right, what is this email going to do? I'm going to give you a really, really, really good technique to use here, okay? It is a very short email, and you are just going to ask a very simple question, but not a yes or no question. You're going to ask a question that actually prompts a legitimate response. And then you're going to do something that doesn't scale. You are going to reply to every single person that answers the question. Okay, so let me show you how what this looks like. All right, subject line, quick question for you. And then I'm going to put in their first name, okay? Now, we're going to assume that I had their first name in the list. By the way, if you didn't collect their first name on the initial opt-in, there are ways, like in your welcome email, you can have a link to another form. And what this is called is like a data enrichment step, right? So you take them, because again, they're very likely, they just signed up. It's like, hey, we need to know a couple more things about you, right? You can even offer them a gift if they fill out this next step, right? Now you're asking, okay, what is your name? What is your this? What is your that? And then you could pipe that right back into their profile. And so you already got them on the list. If they don't take that next step, it's okay. If they do take the data enrichment step, that's even better, because now you know more about them and they've already they've done a first action. You know more about them now. You've gotten them to do something else. This is a highly, highly engaged subscriber. So that's another technique that you can use in your email marketing efforts. So now I'm going to say quick question for you, and then I'll just do ... right? And then what is your biggest challenge in running your agency, or what's the biggest agency related problem you're facing right now? All right. And then what I'm going to do, sender's name, Kevin Geary, Omnisend. Okay. I want them to reply to this email address right here. Let's edit content. Yes, I want to save. And let's say, let them finish the workflow, publish changes. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out again. I just want to drop in my text, and look very, very short. It should look like an email from a friend, right? So I'm going to say, hey, and then we'll put in that first name again. Hey, Kevin. I just it's my own name. Okay. Because I'm the subscriber. Hey, Kevin. What's your biggest agency related problem you're facing right now? I'm willing to give you a few minutes of my time for a reply. And yes, you're guaranteed to hear from me. That should be it, right? What's the biggest agency-related problem you're facing right now? I'm willing to give you a few minutes of my time. How about this? With some super valuable advice that I would typically charge for. Let's see. But you have to answer this email, okay? Dash, you can't sleep on this. Okay? All right, so what's the biggest agency-related problem you're facing right now? I'm willing to give you a few minutes of my time with some super valuable advice that I would typically charge for, but you have to answer this email. You can't sleep on this. Okay. Waiting for your reply. Kevin. All right, so I'm going to say finish editing. Excellent. So now what I have is I have a sequence where we welcome them, all right? We're going to wait 1 day and 1 day only, and then we're going to email them again right away. And this next email is not, hey, buy my shit. Hey, do this thing over here. It is, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? What is the biggest thing you're facing right now in your agency? I'm going to take a few minutes out of my day. I am going to answer this. And I'm going to answer it personally, and I'm going to give you as much value as I can get, but you have to reply right now. You can't sleep on this, okay? And many, many, many people will reply. Not everybody, obviously. Many people will reply, and you are going to give them a valuable reply back. I know that doesn't scale. I know that doesn't seem profitable. I know it seems like you don't have time to do that. When you are in the early stages of building an email marketing list, when you are in the early stages of building an audience, you must do things that do not scale. And this is one of those things right here. And I will tell you, this is going to be fantastic for your brand, for your community, for everything you are trying to do and everything you are trying to accomplish. When people see that you are willing to take time out of your day and give them value back, which most people, your competitors, they don't hear from them ever. They just get automated shit day in and day out, right? They are going to hear from you personally. They are going to be locked in to what you have to say and what you have to offer next, right? So this is a really, really, really great second step. And as you see with Omnisend, I mean, it's fairly easy to set this kind of stuff up. Nice visual automation, dragged in a couple steps. I see also top level 30,000 foot view. When I come back to this 6 months from now and I'm like, what is that automation doing again? Well, I can see, all right, they enter the workflow, they get a welcome email. A day later, they get this email. A day later, they get the next email. Then they get tagged with something and then yada, 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 right? Very easy to see what you set up and how it's all working, okay? So I publish the changes. We'll go ahead and hit update. I can go back to the dashboard. And now I have an email marketing sequence with 2 emails that are 1 day apart. This is a great experience that I can't tell you how many email marketing platforms I open them up and I'm like, all right, does it have this? All right, it kind of has that. Does it have this? And within 5 minutes, I'm like, no, I can't recommend this. This is, I can already tell it's not going to do the things that we needed to do. It's not going to do it in the ways that we wanted to do it. There's just a laundry list of platforms where I just say, no. And if people ask me, I tell them, no. Don't use it. Stay away from it. Don't touch it. I opened up Omnisend. I was ready to give it a no. I'm always ready to give things a no, okay? It has the things we need. It checks the boxes. It's a simple, easy to understand interface. I haven't seen any major limitations with it. And what I was able to do in the time I was able to do it in already beat out numerous other platforms, okay? So it is a very simple thing to set up. If you're an agency or freelancer that likes simple and clean and straightforward and it just works and there's a really solid company behind it, I would say that this is a great option to look at. So would I recommend Omnisend? Yes, absolutely, I would. I want to go take a look at pricing because that's obviously everybody else's next question. How much does the thing cost? Is it wildly expensive? Is it comparative to other platforms? Is it dirt cheap? What is it? I would say, looking at the pricing, okay, so here is kind of a starter level, right? Which is nice that they have an up to $250. A lot of them, it's like up to $500. But I did notice, okay, $16 per month at $250 it doesn't really change. So this is really the up to 500 plan. I honestly don't know what the difference is between those. I don't think that there's a difference between those two tiers right there. It does jump up to 20 at 1,000. Now, how does that compare to other email marketing platforms that I know of? It's right in line with them. Maybe a little bit on the cheaper side here. What you need to do is yeah, it's smart to price these things out at different tiers. So when you're weighing options, say, all right, what is the pricing difference at 1,000? What is the pricing difference at 10,000? And then I would say, what is the pricing difference at 25,000? Now, by the time you get to 25,000, I know these numbers look big. If you got 25,000 people on an email list and this number matters at all to you, you don't know what you're doing with email marketing. This is a drop in the bucket. This is a price of zero consequence, right? You are mishandling your email marketing if these numbers that you're looking at right here matter at 25,000 subscribers. You should be making just gobs of money beyond this cost right here. The value to cost comparison is stupid. It's stupid, right? Again, I'm trying to be as direct and honest as possible. If these numbers matter to you at this tier, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. So it's really of no consequence. And what I'll say with regard to that is, if it's not wildly more expensive than another platform you're considering, this is not a thing you want to decide based on price. You've got to decide based on things like deliverability of the emails, the actual workflows, because you're going to be working in this tool and you don't want to hate your life. You want to enjoy life when you're working in these tools. So is it an enjoyable experience? Is it a clean experience? Is it easy to understand? Are you getting lost in it or not getting lost in it? Does it have the actual features that you need? For example, like, does it track the conversions properly? Does it track engagement properly? Does it have tag-based system and a segmentation-based system? That would be one other thing. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, right? I did tell you I would show you how to set up segmentation, right? So let's go back into Omnisend. Let's go to audience, segments, create segment. I'm just going to show you how easy it is. Create from scratch. And here's what I'm going to do. So it says start building your segment by adding a filter. So I'm going to click add filter and I'm just going to say tag. So what if we did want to create a tag or a segment of the tag is newsletter? And then I can also say, and subscription status is subscribed to email. And notice your options right here: text, browser push notifications, or email. I just care if they're subscribed to email and if their tag is newsletter. And I'm going to say save and show contacts. And I'm going to say newsletter segment, right? Save. And here you go. It's going to show me who's subscribed to this. And now I have a segment that I can use. Let's go take a look at what it would look like to send a campaign. I'm going to go create email campaign, subject line, WDD live is this Wednesday, right? Sender's name, Kevin Geary. And we're going to say receive replies to a different email address. And then pre-header is join me at 11 a.m. Eastern. And I'll say Wednesday instead of Tuesday. Now, this is not real, okay? If you're watching this ahead of the next WDD Live, it's not on Wednesday, it is on Tuesday. But this is an example of one that I might send if I'm doing this on a different day, right? Okay, WDD Live changed to Wednesday. This is like an internal campaign name. And then I'm going to say choose email template. And once again, I know I keep saying it over and over and over again, I like to use unstyled, like unbranded email templates. So I'm going to go to welcome and engage. I'm going to go to plain text, use the template. All right. And then there is a way to save this. Like you've seen me delete this thing out of here a few different times now. I'm going to delete that heading as well. I actually don't need this either. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say save as template. And this is actually going to make this, I'll just call it basic. This is going to make this a template where I don't have to delete the logo. I don't have to delete all that stuff you just watched me delete. It'll just be like this and I can just use it straight out of the box, right? But again, it's the same email editor that you saw me use earlier. And this is how you would send your broadcast. So this will be my broadcast email text. All right. I'm going to say next step, save and choose recipients, right? Okay. Now, do I want to send to all subscribers? No. Let me choose segments, right? Send to newsletter. And then I could add more segments if I wanted to. Now remember, my newsletter segment already has whatever logic I need it to have, but you can actually add multiple segments at a time. I only have one. And then you can exclude as well. So there's so much power with the conditional logic here. And that's another thing you have to check. If your email platform doesn't give you the proper conditional logic features that you need, you end up not being able to email the people you want to email. I'm going to give you another tidbit for email marketing. Email marketing, successful email marketing is about the right emails to the right people at the right time. Okay, the right emails to the right people at the right time. You know what that requires? Advanced segmentation, advanced conditional logic. Because the right emails, okay, I'm writing this particular email to the right people. Who does this particular email need to be sent to? And I can only know that based on their attributes like custom fields and tags and a history of what's happened to them in my platform with my company, right? And then at the right time, when am I sending this? When am I sending this, okay? And that can also, that's not just date-based and time-based, okay? When I'm sending this might be because they just visited a page on my website, because they just clicked a link in this other email over here. You need that kind of functionality built in. All right, so I'm just gonna make this basic, send to the newsletter, and then I'm gonna review the campaign. All right, so we can see our settings, recipients, and then I can say send now or schedule for later. I can do it based on my time zone, based on the subscriber's time zone. Now, this sample email was about my WDD Live event. So I would want to do this based on my time zone, not based on their time zone. They would get the email at the wrong time, right? But if there was another kind of email I'm sending, and it would make sense to send it at their time zone, like for example, if I send it at 9 a.m. my time, but it's not really a time-sensitive email, well, that could go to somebody else at 1 a.m. their time. That's no good. That's no good. I want everybody to get it at 9 a.m. their time. That's where this feature based on subscribers' time zone comes in very, very handy. And I'll tell you, that's once again, something that not every email marketing platform has. These are the things that you have to look for when making your decision. So I'm gonna go ahead and schedule campaign and boom, it's done. It says don't close the window, so I'm not gonna close the window. I'm gonna go back to camera. Okay, again, Omnisend's team reach out to me. I'm doing more sponsored videos, by the way, but I'm telling every single person, look, I'm just going to tell it like it is. I'm going to be honest with my audience. I'm going to look at the things that they care about, not the things you give me on your list. I'm going to look at the things my audience cares about. I'm going to give them my honest opinion. If there's things that need to be improved, then I'll tell that that needs to be improved. If there's things that aren't good, I'm going to tell them it's not good. If there's things that are done really well, then I will say it's done really, really well. And then at the end of it, I will say, can I actually take the step of recommending this thing to my audience? And I was excited to try out Omnisend because, again, it's not a platform that I had ever opened and looked at before. I open email marketing platforms all the time, and within 5 minutes, I say, nope, not for me, not for anybody I know, not going to do this, and then I just write them off, right? I didn't know what was going to happen when I opened up Omnisend. I liked the fact that when I checked, the first thing I did, I went to WS Forum and I said, do they have an Omnisend integration? Yes, they do. Well, that's a good sign, right? So I installed the integration and then I started to set things up and I was like, pretty easy. Pretty easy. Things are going pretty well, pretty smooth. The test emails all came through. The automations all fired off. The dynamic data was there. The conditional logic was there. The segmentation, the tags, and it just continued to check box after box after box. And so I did arrive at the conclusion, along with the fact that it's very competitive pricing, that this is a platform I would recommend. So if you have any questions about Omnisend, feel free to drop them down below. There's a link in the description if you're interested in signing up for Omnisend and giving it a spin. And by the way, if you're not doing email marketing for your clients, this is one of those areas where you can bolt this on in terms of agency services. If you get good at it and you understand how email marketing is really supposed to work, you can add that on as a very, very lucrative deliverable. So don't let that opportunity pass you by either. I'll be back again very soon with another video. In the meantime, thank you guys. Thank you for showing love. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking, and sharing. I'll be back soon with more videos. Peace.